Your Home.
Your Home podcast, episode 0.01.
0.01 is going to be a pretty quick episode, but we're very happy to have you all here today.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining. We are just testing out the new setup here. We got loads of equipment, as you can see on the high quality videos that we have rolling right now. We've got multiple camera angles, mics, and the most exciting thing is definitely by far the blinking lights. What do you think?
I think that you can't forget about the headphones. I think that's also very important as well.
The headphones are kind of clutch.
Headphones are kind of clutch. At first, I was kind of hating on it. Why are you giving me headphones? But I'm settling in nicely.
Nothing feels more legit than blinking lights while you're wearing headphones.
I agree. Oh. Wow.
Thank you, everybody. We should get that. That should be able to fade out because it just sort of abruptly stops. But in real life, oh.
Ooh.
Figured it out.
Hey.
So we're rolling into episode 1, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Your Home podcast. Today we are talking about today's market, 2023. What's going to be happening? What's happening with home prices? What's happening with interest rates? And most importantly, is right now a good time to buy?
Well, as far as the interest rates go, obviously that's a big point of contention with, a lot of people on the fence with buying, right? Interest rates are high, but are they really that high?
I'd say they're high compared to what they were in 2020, 2021, but 2 and 3% rates, we got pretty spoiled with that. Those were historically absurdly low interest rates. Right now we're in the high 5s, low 6s. Historically speaking, that's not too bad. So people got to put things in perspective.
There really is something about being over or under 6. If you're under 6, I'm like, it's not that bad. If we're like over 6, it's like,
the world's ending.
It's the world's ending. Yeah.
Interesting, very interesting thing. We've been talking about this for months, saying, hey, buyer demand right now is low because the rates are high. As soon as rates start to come down, everybody's going to be rushing back to the market, and it's going to be creating bidding wars and all this competition. We had, over the past month, rates went down by 1%. So they went from almost 1%. We went from almost 7% down to low 6s. So high 6s to low 6s. What happened? Within a week, 25% increase in mortgage applications. Demand is going through the roof, and we're still in the 6s. So people, if you think that right now, rates are high and it's not a good time to buy, you just wait until we get to 5.5%. Everybody and their mother is going to be out looking to buy houses, and 2 on Sundays. So get your applications in. Right now is a good time to buy.
Yeah, I couldn't really agree with you more on that. Freddie Mac, or actually the National Association of Realtors, they posted something here recently saying, the Fed rate increases based on the inflation coming back is going to be pretty marginal this coming week. So it's probably going to stay right around, 6.25 on par rates. With us and Mabel loans, it's a little bit less, but that's because we got the good stuff. But the other thing too is I was talking to a realtor about this the other day. They were saying we were talking about the rates and where we're at with the market. But I was telling them, I was like, like the first 5 years that I was in mortgage, like we were only selling rates in like 4 to 5.5%.
Yeah.
So we're really not that far off from kind of where we were before. Right now with, even if you're paying a point, you're getting down into the 5s, which isn't really that bad of a place to be. But
and you can get a point. Yeah. You can get a point paid by the seller. You can get that covered. So it's not like you're coming out of pocket having to do all this, increase your amount of money invested just to get a lower rate. Right now you can get all of your closing costs covered, get your rate bought down. You could buy 2 points. You could do the 2-1 buy down. So you can get into the 4s.
Yeah.
You could get to 3.99 right now.
Yeah, I think the biggest misconception with the interest rates and their impact on things, obviously their impact on things are affordability, people being able to afford their homes, but even beyond that, people get really hung up on the number of the rate, what the number is, and is it a good rate? Am I overpaying? Am I paying more than I want to? And it's just one of those things where, I mean, the real question is, can you afford the payment? You're not paying a 5% interest rate out of your bank account every month. You're paying a specific dollar amount based on the size of the home, the size of your loan, your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance. It's not all just about the rate. And can you afford to make whatever that total payment is on the house that you want? Can you afford to make that payment right now? Right? At the end of the day, you're going to be able, you're going to be able to get that payment down. You're going to have opportunities in the future to get that payment down over time, whether that's in whether that's in 6 months or 6 years or 16 years. I mean, it's like what? It's like 97% of people who get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage refinance it at least one time.
Right.
Something ridiculous
within
like that.
7 years.
Right. So you're either going to cash it out at some point, you're either going to, refinance it to get the payment lower, or refinance it to a 15-year, or refinance it just as, back to a 30-year to lower the payment. I mean,
you're going to refinance it.
You're going to refinance it. Like, you're going to refinance it. So there's not as much to be afraid of if you just keep it really simple, which is, can I afford the payment?
Right.
And not just can I afford the payment, do I want to afford the payment, right? Is that where you want your dollars to go? I mean, that's an important question too. I mean, there's a lot of, it's not all about having, it's all about a house payment, right? You got to take a look at your budget. You got to take a look at what your plans are, and financially for the next year, for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years, how much money you want to have in the bank account, where you want to live. I don't know. It's not all about the, it's not all about the number. It's all about the numbers, but not all about the numbers.
The payment is super important, and up there, I'd say it's the number one thing. The payment. The other side of it, though, is the amount of cash. The payment, it's like, hey, there's a lot of flexibility you have as far as what payment you can afford. You could say, all right, this one, maybe I'm going to go up a little bit more on my budget here, and I'm going to spend a little bit less money going out on weekends. I'm going to budget, a little bit more for my house payment, and maybe spend a little bit less going out to, doing fine dining. You can have flexibility there with your payment. There's not a lot of flexibility you have with cash in your bank account. So when you have 10 different, is there?
I mean,
Let me know.
I think there's a couple different kinds of people out there too. There's some people that, they got to stick to the budget. They're very this, very that, and then there's some people that are, like the sales guys,
Well,
you tell me the budget, I'm going to, increase rev.
Right. Well, hey, I'm all for that. But you tell me, how much easier it is to say, okay, I'm going to spend a couple $100 less on, entertainment and going out, on weekend activities and travel, whatever it is. You can find $200 a month that you can now allocate towards your mortgage payment. But can you find an extra $50,000 in a month? No. And when you're in the situation that we had in 2020, 2021, when the interest rates were so low, that's what you had to do. You had to go into your pocket for an extra 50 or 100 grand more than what the house was being sold for, because there were 10 different people bidding on that house. Right now, your interest rate's a little bit higher. Your monthly payment's going to be a little bit more. So maybe instead of, a payment at, just using an example, maybe instead of a payment at $2,000, you're going to be paying $2,500, but you're going to be able to get the house, and you're not going to have to spend $300,000 to get a $250,000 house. You can get it for $240,000. Yeah, that's not going to do shit to your monthly payment, but you're going to be able to get the house, and you're going to be able to get into that house with barely anything out of pocket and getting all your closing costs covered. So it's a give and take. Me personally, I'd say, hey, I'll find an extra few $100s in my budget each month to be able to afford, the house with a little bit higher rate. But I want to hold on to my cash that's in the bank.
Well, I mean, that's such a good point, because it gets overlooked so much. Some people get so caught up in the minutia,
the rate,
the minutia of what a good,
that's a high
the minutia
rate.
of what a good deal is, and what, dollar for dollar. They have it listed. So there's the hagglers out there.
Yeah.
The house is listed at $550. Well, I only want to pay $540. It's like, okay, well, that means almost nothing. But really, what you want to do is you want to get the closing costs covered by the seller. It makes such a bigger difference. If you take $10,000 and you divide that by 60,
right,
number of payments over 5 years, you're going to be looking at
Yeah, enough. It's enough. That's what you're looking at.
Like, yeah, it's enough, right? I mean, it makes a big difference, right? So if you save $10,000 in closing costs or $10,000 less that you're putting down, you divide that by 60, that's $166 a month, right?
Yeah. Add it to your monthly payment. At the end of the day, really, it's like the same thing.
Yeah, it really is.
It's
it
really
all
the
comes
same
out in the
thing.
wash, you know?
But the one difference is the money may be the same. You may pay an extra $50,000 in interest over the life of that loan, just like you would be if you were paying $50,000 more for the sale price when there was gangbusters competition, multiple offers on a property 24 hours after it had been listing. You may pay the same amount, but you're getting the house. Right now, you can get the house. Before, when everybody's putting those offers in, you weren't going to get it. You're just not going to get the house because you don't have the $50,000.
Well,
you
unless you were
have
that
an
guy.
extra.
Unless you were that guy rolling in with a bunch of cash.
Unless you were that guy. Hey, I like that guy. Where's that guy? Hey, we know that guy.
Well, we didn't talk to a lot of those guys.
We didn't talk to a lot of those guys. A lot of our guys were getting the short end of the stick.
Well, if you needed to, I mean, if you were one of the guys that was buying the house, you were buying it with cash. You weren't talking to me.
Yeah, good point.
You didn't need me. You didn't need me. You weren't talking to me, right? But yeah, the normal first time home buyer, the guy trying to put 3% down, trying to put 5% down, and just get in the game and buy the first house. Those were the people that were just getting crushed.
And that's the point. When we see right now people saying, "Oh, the rates are too high," the market's crazy. Well, the interest rates are high, demand is down. If you can get in the game, if you can afford something right now, if you can find an extra few $100s in your budget to pay for, the house with the mortgage payment at the 6%, whatever it may be. If you can do that, it's going to be a huge benefit for you to make that step and get into something now. Because once we get down into the low fives, you're going to be our first time home buyers.
It's going to be mortgage getting.
It's going to be mortgage getting. I like that.
They're coming.
That's what we had in
Everyone's coming back.
In 2020, 2021, when we had our first time home buyers.
Mortgage getting, buyer
getting.
Yeah. It'll be buyer
getting. When we had our guys in 2020, 2021, they're pre-approved, FHA loan, 3.5% down. All I have is my down payment, and I need a few percent for closing costs. Real estate agents laughed at them. Yeah. It was sad. It was sad.
Really, really pissed me off.
The real estate agents were like, "I'm not working with this guy. There's no way he's getting in the house."
Realtors. Okay. Oh man, we
can't trash the realtors on the podcast. We can't trash the realtors. We love our real estate. We're not talking about you.
We're only on episode 0.01.
If you're a real estate agent listening to this pod, we're not talking about you. We're talking about those other agents, the ones that you would say the same thing about.
We're talking about the other every time. We're always talking about the other agents.
We're not talking about you. We're talking about those other agents. You know who we're talking about. Yeah, them.
All right, I gotta call somebody.
Okay,
I'll be right back.
All right. Well, I think we can wrap it up.